C'est pas sur ma clé.
J'ai juste mis la presse de Diane Retry.
On attend encore 5 minutes parce qu'il y a deux groupes de membres du jury qui n'avaient pas très bien compris, voilà, qui sont en train de terminer d'essayer les jeux dont ils avaient la responsabilité. On va essayer d'être plus clair. I should say it back in English. We have to wait a few minutes because there are two groups of jury members who did not clearly understand. Probably we were not clear enough that they had to test their games, and they are finishing this process.
Tu peux garder ces micros toute la journée? Enfin, toute la journée, je veux dire. Pendant les soutenances, tu les gardes? Tu les fais passer pour les questions et réponses? Et ici, ça va être pour les sections. D'accord. Parce qu'on garde toujours les mêmes.
Ok, je vais essayer de m'en souvenir. have a full jury back in the room, so we may start. So just an explanation. They have. We start with the people who played the game, which has to explain how they like it, they feel it, and then you have to make the presentation. So Thierry, who was in charge? Qui était? Il faut venir. Quoi? Oui. Si possible, faites-le en anglais.
Non, ça va. Je vais éviter, sinon ça va être trop long. Alors, il faut que je dise ce que j'en ai pensé, c'est ça. Alors, moi j'ai beaucoup aimé l'idée du jeu. Déjà l'univers du jeu, le principe du jeu et le graphisme. Ça, c'est les trois choses que j'ai appréciées. Et ce côté, c'est bien si on n'est pas dans la baston, on n'est pas dans voilà, genre un peu comme ça, gagner en se confrontant à quelque chose, mais plutôt sur un principe de quête lié à une mythologie passée, en plus que j'apprécie, donc ça c'est autre chose. Et donc quelque chose de zen et d'assez nordique, et puis dans le design on retrouve ça. Donc je trouve que c'est une cohérence, on dit c'est congruent, donc j'aime beaucoup ça. Et après ce côté graphique, pour développer un petit peu, assez simple, très illustratif, ça marche très bien. Et ça me parle beaucoup. Après, je suis absolument pas joueur en jeu vidéo, donc c'est un challenge pour moi, et pour vous c'est pas un avantage. Je me suis un petit peu perdu moi pour déposer les offrandes à un moment. En fait, quand j'allais chercher les trucs, je savais pas comment je devais faire pour si je devais les redéposer ou si ça se redéposait naturellement. J'étais un petit peu perdu, enfin un peu perdu, pas tant que ça, mais je cherchais un peu comment faire, quoi. Voilà. Puis après, s'orienter avec le personnage, le fait que ça soit linéaire gauche-droite, le personnage il n'arrivait pas à se retourner toujours. Bon, ça ne m'a pas plus perturbé que ça. Je sais que vous n'avez pas tant de temps que ça pour faire le jeu, donc ça ne m'a pas non plus perturbé. Voilà, ce côté un petit peu linéaire. Après, j'ai pas pigé qu'on pouvait changer d'univers, on peut aller dans le cœur de l'île, et voilà. Je suis pas forcément doué non plus. Voilà, c'est que j'étais un petit peu perdu dans comment arriver à finir la quête et comment ça se passe. Sinon, le jeu est clair dès le départ, on comprend nos missions, je suis bien dans l'univers, je baigne dans quelque chose, je comprends. Voilà. Donc assez positif pour moi, et le principal était là. Voilà.
Vous avez la parole.
Merci. Okay, so I think we're ready to begin. So hello everyone, I'm Penelope from the team of Nouvelle. We're thrilled to be presenting our game to you today, and I'm going to start off really easily by telling you what the game is about. So Nouvelle is an atmospheric exploration game in which you play as Ida, a Viking priestess in search of her lost powers. So after the brutal death of her child, she turned away from her faith, and now that her village needs her, she finds herself incapable of contacting the gods and the spirits. So your goal as a player will be to help her regain those powers. And for that, you'll have to go on a journey into the wilderness and meet with the Landvetir, which are the guardian spirits of the lands in the Norse mythology. They're the ones who can help you, but for that, you'll have to prove yourself worthy of those powers again. So now I'd like to tell you about our intentions when starting the project, what the beginning of our creative process was. So the first thing that we wanted to achieve with Landvetir was that we wanted to show another aspect of Viking culture. So it's very widely represented in the media today. It's very trendy, but you often see the badass warrior side of it, which is great. But we also wanted to show the other side of it, which is the quiet and mystical spirituality and folklore. We also wanted to tell an interesting and mysterious story, so the narrative aspect was always very important to us in this project. And lastly, the core feature of Landvetir lies in its strong artistic direction, as we wanted something very original that would put the emphasis on our artist's unique style. And now moving on to gameplay and the user experience that we wanted to design. So Landvetir has a point-and-click based gameplay, which allows you to very easily explore your environment, find and pick up special items, and interact with the Landvetir that you'll meet through our non-linear dialogue system. So we have very intuitive interactions and easy to grasp controls, because the main thing for us was to have an accessible game that would be playable by almost everyone and not necessarily gamers. So now I'm going to let Aurore tell you about the process of creating the universe of Landvetir.
In order to create the world of Landvetir, we have done a lot of research on Scandinavian environments and landscapes. We have also drawn inspiration from the work of Scandinavian and Slavic artists, as well as artists from different horizons. The artistic direction of the game is intended to be atypical and striking. Our desire to keep a link with ancient Viking Scandinavia is highlighted through the use of traditional mediums, such as pencil draw art and pattern design, inspired by historical fabric elements and engraving that history has left us. So here you can see some of our inspiration as Willem Amershoy, Maxil Parish and Hans Dahl that we keep for their work on lighting, their treatment of the composition and the colors of Norway landscapes. And now you can see some works of Harry Clark, Kai Nielsen and Sergio Topi, and we keep them for their dramatic black and white style, using pattern design and ornaments, and for their depiction of nature. And now there is Edmond Delac, Carl Larsson and John Bauer for their way to depict dreamlike Scandinavian environments, for their way to represent fairy tales also, and for their approach on daily life scene of Sweden. We have decided that just as the landscapes that our player would explore, the art style would be harsh, raw, and uncompromising. You can see this through the presence of irregular pencil marks and light that we didn't want to erase, and all of this without giving the impression of a rough sketch. It is very simply an unapologetic and honest art style. The composition is tend to be simple and geometric in the treatment of planes, but the pattern and ornaments are literally blooming within the environments. All of this gives a messy looking, yet very complex and organized ensemble of planes. The irregular curves of the patterns helps breaking the straight shape of the ground and planes. The flat tint of black, white and grey help creating volume and flat asset. All of this allows us to have living and vibrant environments and to carry the story. So here you can see some color research for Ida, our character, and the game environment. And after that, you can see some image for our first prototype. And now you can see some research for pattern design, landscape, composition, as well as cartoon design for the land feature. And now I will let Victoria talk about the characters.
So our main character is Ida. She's a vulva, a priestess mourning her son, and she turned away from her faith and she lost the mystical link she had with the gods and with the spirits. And now she wants to redeem herself and win her powers back. So we chose her to be in colors so that we can see her more easily in the black and white environment. And we use blue tones because in the Viking mythology it was the color associated with the vulvas. So here you can see a picture in game, and you can see Ida standing out from the black and white environment. And you can also see the lake Landvatir, which is one of the two Landvatirs we have in the game. So now about the Landvatirs. So they are very unpredictable creatures with their own personality, and they give precious help to the vulvas, but their help is very difficult to obtain. There was no description in text about the Landvatirs, so we have to imagine what they look like and what they sound like. So for their look, we chose them to be as close to nature as possible. And the challenge was to make them not look like humans or animals. For the musical theme, we chose the kantele, which is a traditional Nordic instrument from the Dulcimer family with a legendary history. The legend is that the music the kantele makes draws all the forest creatures to its player, and its player is often referred as Odin, the Norse god. Also, for the musical theme, we chose the traditional Nordic theme, I Dreamed Me a Dream, which is the oldest known song in Nordic countries. So what can happen next? So if the project had a future, we would have liked to create a longer, bigger and wider environment, and also a whole range of new Landvatirs with their own and unique personalities, and also to create a longer experience, because for now the game is about 10 minutes long, so we would like maybe something 40 minutes long. So this is the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening. And now I'm going to introduce the team. So Penelope for game design and project management. Aurore for the art. So we have Lenny also for the art. And Patrick for game design. And for programming, we have Olivier and Yanis.
And Victoria was our sound designer. So thank you for listening to us. If you want to test the game, we're in the atrium area. We'll be happy to have you test it. And if you have any comments for us, we'll be happy to hear them. Thank you.
Question.
I'm gonna ask the question in English because I figure this way everybody can benefit from it. So hi. My question is about, I know if you can go back in your presentation, you had one slide with a screenshot of the game where you had dialogues with text. It was in the beginning. This one. So I had a question about this. So I figure you were talking about the fact that it's a quest-oriented game narrative. So I figured this happens several times in the game. You have text. I haven't tried it yet. That's why I have to imagine. But my question about this is I was wondering, since such dialogues occupy such a big portion of the screen space, I wondered if you experimented with other ways of deliver the text. If you tried, for example, a bottom banner, and the fact that you could eventually only reveal the text 2 lines at a time, and press a button or just scroll through the text in a manner of input, so that you don't have such a big part of the visual composition that is impacted by the presence of the dialogues.
So about the text, we did several things. When you speak with Landwehr, it's a different interface. But yeah, the first idea was a pop-up every time that cover all the screen, but it was a bit yeah, intrusive. I mean, it cut a lot.
Intrusive?
Yeah. That's the idea. So we try something with so you can see the rest of the world still, and just yeah.
Did you go through several iterations of this? Because yeah, that's what I was gonna say. When I saw this screen, what I wrote down was that it was kind of masking the art style, and so it's kind of it felt a little disruptive because you're taken out a little bit of the setting that you build with the patterns and the landscapes.
Yeah, it's still intrusive, but we got some difficulties with technical issues. So yeah.
So this is actually the interface element that you see here is actually when the character is actually thinking to herself. So that's not the actual dialogue interface. And I'm sorry, actually, I don't think we have that in the presentation, but we have a new interface for the dialogue phases where you actually have images of the character that you're speaking to, that Lenny did, and you have a ornamented interface, so you actually have a new screen, so you don't really see the landscape, but you still have some art style and some new images, so it's not so disturbing. It's actually pretty, it has a good pace to it. So you can see that if you come and test the game, but I don't think we have that in the presentation.
I have a question. Am I wrong to assume that none of you is Scandinavian?
Nope. None of us is Scandinavian.
All right. So I'm going to ask a hot button question, which is, and I don't subscribe to the notion, but how would you react to an accusation of cultural appropriation?
I would say that we were not trying to depict Scandinavian culture in a historical way. We're absolutely not claiming to have a historical veracity on what we're saying. This is complete fiction, and we're depicting a fantasy world.
But you are using actual cultural element of the Scandinavian background.
Yes, because we drawn inspiration from historical texts, and we did some research on things like the figure of the vulvas and the runes, things like this. So we did a lot of research and read the actual mythical texts before putting anything in the game. And we want to make it really clear that there's absolutely no historical, we're not claiming to be historically accurate. So we're not claiming to be a representation of the Scandinavian culture.
Fair enough.
Hi. I just want to know a little bit more about the gameplay, because you talk a lot about narration and the influences of the world you're depicting, but can you just tell us more about the mechanism and what kind of gameplay do you want to implement?
Yes, sure. So, as I said before, the gameplay is point and click based, and the idea is that you have to explore the two maps that are available, and you have to go and meet with the Landvetir. You have one major Landvetir, so guardian spirits of the land, and he will give you some missions, and the idea is that you have to prove yourself worthy of your powers again. So you'll have to go and build an altar for the Landvetir and put some offerings on them, and you have to go and convince another creature in the world that you're basically a friend of the gods again. And so the gameplay is based on dialogues. You have non-linear dialogues, and it depends on, you have to get friendly with some Landvetir, and if you get the answers wrong, you can't go back to that major Landvetir and get your powers back. So you basically have to pick up some items and have dialogue phases with creatures, and that's what the gameplay is about.
Yes, we stop here. Juste, j'ai rappelé quelque chose qui était peut-être pas clair ce matin. C'est qu'ils n'ont pas une obligation à ce que ça soit un jeu dans un sens classique ou non. Il faut que ce soit une expérience interactive originale. Ça peut être un jeu, mais ce n'est pas une obligation. Voilà. Je dis ça parce que, à travers certaines questions, j'ai cru comprendre qu'il y avait une ambiguïté. So, I repeat in English, there is no goal to make a game. You can make anything which is original, interactive experience. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Et pendant que le groupe suivant s'installe, les jeux que vous verrez aujourd'hui, le matin et l'après-midi, restent toute la journée dans la salle. Donc vous pouvez aller les jouer après, si vous n'avez pas eu le temps. All the games which will be presented today will be, you can try them all the day in the room, not only morning for the afternoon. Alors, le suivant, c'est quoi? Alors, qui est le testeur? Who's the cobaye? Je sais pas si on dit en anglais. Who's the hamster? Who's exactly.
Du coup, c'est quoi c'est ce qu'on a eu de l'expérience, c'est ça? C'est les retours? Ok. Pardon? S'il faut. Ok, bah on va faire ça en anglais. Ok. What was the name of the game? Gravity of Fame. That's a long name. Okay. Are you ready? Yeah? That's okay? Huh? Yeah, right. So gravity of fame. Actually, the game was pretty fun. I we played together, and it was a pretty humiliating defeat. So I just can't tell that the game is good. Sorry. No, I'm kidding. It was very like quick like in terms of game feel and dynamism. That part was really well. You captured pretty well the essence of what make a good basic FPS and multiplayer. The twists so well as the ability to change gravity. I have spent some time understand how it was working. I don't I don't even know from the start, but well, that was the game. How I can manage gravity? Was it just a reverse of gravity, or I was going to have the feet upon my head by switching it, or and no, it was very relative to the walls around you. The mechanic wasn't clear. Just by using it, but once you have once you have mastered that techniques, you can see all the potential of the game a very how do we say that? Don't know yet. Non. Ouais, ouais, juste pertinent, un mot de base. Relevant. It was a really relevant mechanic because it brings a lot of dynamism on a genre that is already very dynamic, and I want it. It's a shame that it was only 10 minutes because I think the second game would be very fun, and I think you've got something here that's pretty interesting. Anthony Dutch, working at Ubisoft Mobile. And yeah, that's it.
Il doit y avoir il y a un micro là.
Okay, hello everyone. So Gravity of Fame is a fast-paced multiplayer competitive first-person shooter. Whose main mechanic is that each player can change his own gravity. In a distant future, the Earth is overpopulated, and humans do not manage to colonize other planets. The world is on the verge of anarchy, and to channel the population desires for blood, the leaders opened arenas to offer every citizen an opportunity to become rich and famous. Every one of you can go into the arena. The question is, do you have what it takes to become a gravity gladiator?
So, in terms of game design, how does the game works? It's a fast-paced multiplayer FPS where the main mechanic is that you can change gravity, your own gravity, when you want, at whatever speed you want, and in whatever situation you want. What does that change in terms of game design? It changes everything. We had to adapt our level design, our weapons, everything to make our core mechanic, our originality, something that works and that is exciting to play with. So that is one of the screens of our game. You can see that the level design is quite very simple with only walls, and that is something that we discovered while playtesting. If we had a lot of geometry to block things, and if we had decorations, the player do not knows where he is going to land when he uses gravity. So we went with something very simple to make it possible to have fun immediately. You can see another originality of our game here in the user interface. Every weapon in the game is here, and the level of ammunition is really seeable anytime. And it doesn't matter what weapon you have in your hands. You can know all your weapons, all the situations of your weapons right now. We also wanted to make something that's really small and doesn't take space, because in a shooter where your opponents can be on the roof or on the walls, you have to see everywhere. So we were not able to put things here or here or here. We had to make everything in the middle so that you can see everywhere. The key mapping is also something that is very original with our game. Why? Because changing gravity adds something to make with the controller that wasn't found by the people who made the controller. So we did something very simple. A simple push of any of these buttons will make you change the gravity at the thing that you want. If you want to go left or right, just push X or B, for example. We also did key mapping on keyboard and mouse. It's simply because every gamer of FPS plays with a keyboard and a mouse, so we felt that it was something we had to do, and we all play with this configuration now. So that's that. Concerning the graphic and environmental design, we first choose to make something that looked like a Roman arena with a lot of geometry with 90-degree angles, simply because it was something that was necessary for the game to work. You have to have angles like that. So that's what it looked at the beginning. We had to change a lot because we discovered that the players need to know at what floor they are. If they are on the roof, if they are on the floor. They need to know where is the top and where is the bottom. So we adapted a lot since then. Weapon and character design. As you can see, we choose to make a character that looks a lot like a Roman gladiator once again, but with a lot of technology, something a little post-apocalyptical and technologic, because, well, we had to adapt to the gravity changing system, and it seemed logical. You can see that every weapon here is really distinguishable easily from one another. It's something we wanted to do to make the game really simple to understand to everyone. so that you can focus a lot of our main mechanic, the gravity changing. All weapons has also been imaginated to work a lot with it. We have the grenade launcher, the bazooka that explodes a lot and make it easy to shoot people that are everywhere on the room. We have the big machine gun that spread a lot of ammunition, so it's quite easy to shoot. And for the experienced player, we put also a one-shooter that can one-shoot someone, but it's really difficult. It's a little laser, so we think about beginners and experienced player when designing those weapons. Like I said, we did a lot of playtest. It's a multiplayer game, so we had to adapt a lot, and we played a lot with each other and with new people to know what to change. We had to make a lot of new feedbacks. We didn't think a lot about that when designing the game, and why playtesting, we discovered that it's something that the people want. The feedbacks for everything, every time you appear, you die. A little sound can change everything, and the vibration on the controller is something we had to add to. Well, I think I said everything. It is now time to present to you all the team with everyone. It's just written, you just have to read. Thank you, everyone. Do you have any questions?
All right, thank you. You said you've made a lot of playtests. That was actually a good job upon all of the feedbacks. Well, the majority of it. But I think in your playtest you have encountered the issue that your player doesn't understand how the gravity mechanics works. Am I wrong?
Well, in fact, we weren't ready to. We didn't know that we were not allowed to explain how it works. So by just saying if you push left, you go left, it's really easy to understand. But if you don't speak about it, yes, it's not quite as easy to understand. But I think with half an hour, you can manage to understand how it works and to make it really work for you. With you was playing a new player, Brahim, that is surely somewhere here. In one play, he was largely better than me at the game, so I think it's something that we didn't manage to achieve totally, but that can work a little with just a bit of explanations.
Yeah, I think you can be a pretty good player in the type of game, because that's basically a quick like in terms of core gameplay. So well, I can totally assume that a new player can be a good one. Just how if you were to add some feedbacks to be for the core mechanics about the gravity to be autonomous, would you think of something in terms of feedback, visual feedback?
In fact, there is a lot of ways to add these feedbacks. We think about how to do it. You have flames in a lot of zones in the game. Flames that show you where is the bottom, so you can manage to know where you are thanks to these flames. And we did not have the time to put it in the game, but we also think about something in the middle of the screen that indicates where you stand. So it's just not in the game, but it's in the imagination of it.
Yeah. That could have been a pretty good idea, for example. Okay, thank you.
Do we have time for another question or not? Yes? Okay, so I'm gonna ask it. Hi, I had a question to ask you about if you can. Well, it's more of a technicality, but I didn't quite understand it from. If you can go back to the slide where you explained the gravity mechanic. It's one of the second one, maybe. I can't remember. This one.
This one.
Because you say gravity changing for everyone, everywhere, anytime, but that's what the slide says. But I think you said that each player has its own gravity. So I just want to clear that up because I didn't play it. Is it each player has its own gravity?
Each player has its own gravity, and he can change his gravity, but it doesn't affect the gravity of other people.
Okay. So, okay. I just wanted to do that because so part of the, like, it's important to work on your communication. Like you can't have a slide that says something that's contradictory to how the game plays.
Okay.
It's important to, it's just and I had a question, if you can go back to the slide with the weapons. I didn't quite, so just about to understand your game system, you have 4 weapons?
We have 5, but these are the main weapons. The 5 one is when you don't have ammo left. You have a little pistol, but these are the 4 main weapons.
And what you were talking about previously concerning the ammunition, is it that all the ammunition is shared between all the weapons?
Yep.
Okay.
All ammos are the same ammos for all weapons, and they all use the ammo in different ways. We try to make it as as understandable as
Can
possible.
you explain to me on the slide?
Okay.
Please.
So, here you have the machine gun. You have 30 munitions and you can shoot 30 times.
Okay.
Here is the shotgun. Each ammo
Okay, so
uses
each
three
compartment. Each compartment. Okay, I understand.
Behind it, you have here the laser, the one shooter. In fact, it's a weapon that you have to charge, and the more you charge it, the more it uses your ammo. And behind it, you see it's not transparent. It's because the last one in gray here is the bazooka, and every time you shoot, it uses 30 ammo in all. So if you didn't had ammo in your bazooka left right now, it will be transparent. So you can really see all your weapons while you play.
So what's the point of that?
The point of that is to make it a lot more strategic to play. Games like Quake and Unreal seems to be games where you do not think, but you have to establish strategic situations when you can use that weapon or any weapons. And our choice was to make a game where you spawn with all your weapons on you. So the strategic advantage is where you know what weapons to use in what situation. That's why we put it that way.
But why do you need to put it in the HUD? Why do you like? I understand there's a strategy about choosing the right weapon in the right circumstance, but why do you have to represent all the weapons at the same time in the HUD?
Just to make it simpler and to make the player does not have to change weapons to know where are his ammunition.
Well, yeah, but this makes it actually kind of more difficult, right? You're displaying at the same time all the information. It clutters the screen and it makes it harder to parse the information. You don't need to have the information of the weapons you're not using.
In a close combat, if you want to use your rocket launcher, you have to know if you can, or if you will die because you reload. So with this point, the player know if he is better to change to a shotgun or is a rocket launcher. And after a few minutes, I think people know how to read the information. And when you change your weapon, all the ammunition become orange. So you know which
okay,
ammo.
but I mean, people will adapt to anything given enough time. The real question is like, if the information you want to convey is about, do you have ammunition in that weapon that you are intending to use, yes or no? Maybe you do want to give some feedback on that, but I'm pretty sure you don't want to put it all at the same level. You want to have different displays of information where you're displaying the information of the weapon that is being used at the foreground, and you're going to have information of the weapons that you're not using at the background.
In fact, the weapon that you're using is appearing. It's a layer system, and the munition you're using currently is the machine gun, and the machine gun is yellow. The reason why it's yellow is because the guy is using it, so it's really more visual than the other weapons. And if you were using another weapon, that will be another thing that will be yellow, to make it as simple as you well, okay, thanks.
Maybe one quick remark, because I tried out the game as well, and I sucked at it tremendously. And so I want to come back to the very first question or remark, that it's difficult to grasp the concept. And I finally grasped it now, and I think the reason was, and so you call it gravity of fame. And gravity is a concept that is related and bound to a space. The Earth has gravity, the Moon has less gravity. So that's what I didn't get without the explanation. I thought always I was changing the gravity of the space and not the gravity of the person. So that was the main thing. And with gravity of fame, you gave an explanation in the title that misled me. So you should have called it something like personal gravity of fame.
Okay. Thank you. And we have to move to the next. And the next is this is silence, so we need experimentator. Bon, oui.
Donc, bonjour à tous. Hi everyone. I'm just introduce myself. Maybe I'm Adrian from the Futuroscope, which is a theme park in France. Dedicated to mostly the movies, movie attractions. I just I'm here very interesting in virtual virtual reality to suggest new experience on our park, of course. And I just tested a few minutes. I didn't achieve all the game, but what I can say about it is that it's great because they put human before the device. I mean, it's a big problem when you try to use a virtual reality. You try to create something great into the screen, and they just create a very simple atmosphere, which is dark with like a little light, and all the game is into the dialogue with the other guy, which who will guide you, in fact, because he has all the information, and you only have the power of moving. So this is a big force. I can say a lot of lot more for the moment, because I just did the first minute of the game, and I just reached the first monster. So, but it was actually great, and I will let the other tester maybe more describe the rest and the details.
Hello. Sorry for English people, but I think I will find my words in French to explain. So. Donc, je trouvais que c'était un super gameplay qui est en coopération, et ça c'était vraiment très intéressant parce que il y a la coopération, on fait tous la même chose, et là c'est vraiment l'un ne va pas sans l'autre, et j'en ai pas beaucoup testé, j'ai trouvé ça vraiment très intéressant. Donc il y avait une très bonne mise en situation qui alliait le physique et le numérique, parce que moi, en tant que guide, je devais regarder sur tous mes papiers, essayer de comprendre, et donc du coup c'était vraiment très intéressant. Et donc ça facilitait aussi l'immersion. Donc pour ma partie, le graphisme était vraiment très simple, mais en fait il n'y avait pas besoin de plus. Donc c'était parfait, ça me permettait de comprendre. On a mis quelques minutes avant de savoir quand est-ce qu'il fallait se faire repérer ou ce qu'il fallait faire. Mais après, ça a été très, très intuitif. Donc ça a très bien fonctionné. Et comme j'avais juste un plan, en fait, c'était les commentaires de mon partenaire qui me donnaient une idée de ce que ça pouvait être, de ce que pouvait être cette bête et tout ça. Donc c'était encore plus c'est encore plus immersif, on va dire, parce que on imagine, donc c'est un petit peu pire. Le son est magnifiquement réalisé parce qu'on était vraiment, enfin, pour moi, j'étais vraiment totalement immergée dès qu'il y avait le petit son qui signalait la bête. Du coup, enfin voilà, c'était très, très bien réalisé. Et donc, c'était très, très intéressant. Je crois qu'on a monopolisé le temps ce matin parce qu'on voulait gagner. Et donc, du coup, c'est une première base, mais qui remplit totalement le défi, je pense, qui a été donné cette année. Et moi j'aimerais voir plus. Voilà. Ah. Oui, alors moi je suis Barbara, je suis directrice de production du studio Dreamtronic sur Angoulême. Voilà, on fait des tables tactiles et des jeux.
Et du coup, un petit mot pour compléter, puisque moi j'ai servi de cobaye à Eve et j'étais de l'autre côté avec le casque sur la tête. Et effectivement, si on ne communique pas dans le jeu, on a beaucoup de mal à avancer. Ce qui fait que moi, avec le casque, donc il a fallu quelques minutes pour comprendre ce qu'on pouvait faire avec. Et au bout de quelques minutes, effectivement, on comprend ce qu'on peut faire et on se met très vite à parler parce que si on ne parle pas, on n'arrive pas à avancer et d'un côté et de l'autre. Donc ça c'est très immersif. Ça fonctionne bien. En plus, moi, je suis bon public, donc j'ai sursauté quelques fois. Ça a bien marché. Moi, ce qui m'a manqué, c'était par contre le but du jeu. Qu'est-ce que je faisais là et où est-ce que je devais aller et qu'est-ce que je devais faire. Parce que on finit par comprendre qu'il faut chercher des indices et donc du coup on se laisse guider. Mais voilà. Sinon. Bah voilà. L'ambiance a pris le dessus.
Pierre Faucheux, donc Gaming Lab. Et je reviens au prochain round apparemment.
Hello everyone, welcome to the first presentation of This is Silent. Let's begin with the trailer.
Hello everyone. Our intention for this game were to create a cooperative experience with an asymmetric gameplay, with the eye immersion, with the virtual reality, and a gameplay based on the communication between the two players. Those players will have to play against a permanent threat in a closed environment, and they will have to look for some things in the dark. Asymmetric gameplay means two different ways to play This is Silent. I will explain it, but before, let's say player 1 is the blue character on this screen, and player 2 is a green character on this screen. is colorblind? Okay. Player 1 plays with the Xbox controller and a VR headset. In this case, Oculus Rift. Green plays with a radar. He can see blue in the center. He can see the walls of the building. He can see the doors, and he can see another thing, which is moving in the building. And of course, they can talk, so they have microphones. And in Death is Silent, communication is a victory condition. Because in fact, green can see many things which blue cannot see, but blue can see many things which green cannot see. So they have to complete their informations every time by talking. When they are playing, blue and green are in this situation. Green is moving, blue is moving in the building, seeking, and green is guiding him with a radar. But not only with a radar. He also has a paper map of the entire building, and he has a notebook with all of the instructions about the game. What are they looking for? For the moment, the game is only playable in local area network, so it's better to not play in the same room, but more like this. Well, what are they looking for? If green here is looking in the notebook, he could see a short description about the mission. He could see the principal objective, which is to find someone lost in the building. And he could see an optional objective. Find 7 graffitis hidden in the building. Green has to describe these graffitis because blue hasn't the notebook. It describes the graffitis to blue, and blue has to find them. This is the optional objective. Easy? Not so, because, as I said, they are not alone. How the game works? Green guides blue. Blue is looking for the objectives, but there is a monster in the building. So green has to watch it, because the monster is moving randomly in the building, seeking blue, and this monster is indestructible, unpredictable, and it can go through the walls, which is a little problematic. The monster, let's imagine the monster is seeking blue. If he reaches him, blue dies. If he dies, he goes back to the last checkpoint. So, to hide, blue can switch off his light, and maybe he will survive. But if the monster sees him, blue has to run away, and it's really difficult to escape because, as I said, the monster can go through the walls, not blue. If he succeeds, really hard, but if he succeeds, the better thing to do for blue is to switch off his light and wait. Wait, because after a few seconds, the monster will go away and disappear. Okay? Now, let's talk about the story.
First, I will talk about the sound design, and then I will talk about the story of the game. And first, so I will talk about the sound design. The sound is very important in Death is Silent because it's the link between the two players. It's the only way they can communicate, and that's the only thing they share in the game. So we wanted to create a dynamic and oppressive atmosphere that's with very discrete music for the player to concentrate on the heavy mood of the game. We worked a lot on the monster sound. He makes insect-like sounds that are very useful because player one can use it to locate the monster around him. And that monster has a different behavior depending on whether he saw the player or not. And finally, we worked a lot on the interactions into the game, because when player one gets caught, the microphone will shut down, and the sound will be different to make the players understand that there is an interference between the two of them. So that's the work we made on the sound design of the game, and it was a very huge work because it's a very important part of the game, of the gameplay when you test it. And then I will talk about the scenario. Really, we explained to you how the game works, but not what it tells you. So in Death is Silent, you play as a team of 2 Ghostbusters who are looking for a missing person in an abandoned and haunted boarding school. So one of the 2 Ghostbusters goes into the school to explore discreetly, as the other guides him from a converted truck when he can where he can track the monster's moves. And so the 2 players, the 2 Ghostbusters, will have to cooperate to win and to survive. The school is the place where the game takes place. It's the place explored by the first player, and it was occupied by many various entities. First, the boarders who lived there, and then the urban explorers who occupied the place when it was abandoned, and finally the monster. And each of these entities left traces in the building. So the urban explorers left graffitis and moved furniture, and the monster transformed the place in a chaotic and gloomy environment. And we use those traces left by the different people to build the level design. So the furnitures were used to create obstacles, and the graffiti were used to leave a trail to the victim, and also used to create immersion and a feeling of discovering new things and the feeling of exploration, really. And finally, we created an environment that could also help the player to be immersed in the game. So this is the installation. So what is it really? It's a reproduction of what player 2 sees when he is in his equipped truck. So first of all, it helps a lot the immersion, because we gave the player a lot of elements about previous missions of the Ghostbusters, so it creates like a background story. And it helps also the gameplay, because we created a lot of documents about the present mission, as a map, notes about previous explorations of the building, photographs, etc. And so player 2 has to communicate those documents to player 1. If not, they can't succeed the experience. This is essential. So to the communication is made essential by those documents, and so it helps a lot the cooperative gameplay to have those documents.
Now, let's introduce our team. Quentin Guerrero. Clémentine Pissonnier. Yanis Berry. Okay. Clémentine and Quentin were our game designers. Yanis is our programmer. And Amélie Bailly, with our graphic designer. And we also would like to thank Mathieu Hainer and Maxime Touchon, who made the sound design of our game, and also Olmo, who designed the monster and animated it. It was a real pleasure to work with them. Thank you for your attention.
And Maxime Petit, who managed us.
There are some questions.
Hi. I found the concept brilliant. I think it's a really nice idea. But I have a big question on my mind. Is about the using of the VR. I mean, first to totally understand that VR is for immersion, and it's a kind of type of game where immersion is like really super important. But I don't get the point, because your field of view is very narrow. So you can have the 360 environment and the real immersion that the VR is giving you. The feeling that the VR is giving you. So for me, it's a bit deceptive, because I would have thought about something like you the total darkness with like small tiny glimpse of light, something like that, but with the whole field of view. But still, I have to test it, and I think it's a brilliant idea. So don't get upset about my remark. And I think sound design could be is something like essential for the experience. So I'm really excited to test it and to see how you manage the sound and the environments and stuff like that. So I don't think you have to answer this, or maybe yes. I don't know.
Hello. I'm not a game player, but I'm very interested in storytelling. And I'm just curious to know why, because you've got this very kind of cohesive logic of the school, the haunted school, and I wondered why you chose to have a monster as the threat and not something like an evil spirit or precisely a ghost, or even like, you know, evil head mistress who died terribly, or, you know, something that kind of works with the logic of the school.
Hi. We chose the monster first because we asked ourselves what makes you very I can't find my words, but anxious, and so we all answered insects. So that was our first hint for the monster, and also we didn't want to get into the total cliché of the haunted school with the disappeared child or whatever. So we chose what was the most fearful for us, and so that was a monster.
Maybe you should add that one of your inspiration is the part of Ridley Scott Alien, the sequence where the monster eats the captain.
Yeah.
question? Nobody wants to be.
There is just one problem, because if it's a monster and not a ghost, why did the wall throw the wall? Because it was very disturbing.
At the beginning, it was a bug, in fact. But we found it so cool, so we let it in the game. Okay.
Um, just I was wondering if you tested to do it like a stand-up experience, because I was the green man, the Oculus, with the Oculus Rift. I was sit down, so I well, did you think about how to transform this into a live and very working experience?
Why not? That could be an idea for technical reasons. We wanted to concentrate on a very simple gameplay because we wanted it to work, and so it works. So that's great. And why not in the future make this experience evolve and maybe, yes, make someone walk into a dark room really, and that's an interesting idea, I think.
Un petit mot entre l'installation, entre deux installations. On a des liens, il y a un lien, on vous a donné un lien pour pouvoir noter les jeux. Si vous n'avez pas de PC, alors on a oublié de vous les donner au début, mais on a des PC à disposition pour vous. Si vous voulez, je peux vous en fournir. Il y en aurait besoin de combien? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C'est pour tous les deux journées. Donc, je vais vous les apporter. Oui, c'est les pizzas.
Il y a deux liens sur le bureau. Le micro. Moi, le micro, ça, l'ordinateur, tu peux. Ça marche.
Okay. So Pierre Faucheux, manager at Gaming Lab. So it's a party game, quite easy to understand that it's a party game. So you have to fight your friends and to be the last one on the level. So it's quite easy to understand. The screen is really clear. You could easily understand who is your character, what you have to do. Maybe there is too much game mechanic when you have only 10 minutes to play. For example, the mechanic to grab your friends. I didn't find a good way to use it, but the mechanic to fight is quite understandable. About graphism, so it's I already talk about it. It's coherent with. I mean, you can understand what happened on the screen, and for me, this is the main point. You have to reach. About the sound for party games, so you have sound everywhere. Well, it's not a problem. It helps to the fun. So if you have good friend with you, there will be good atmosphere around you. So it's working. Yeah, nothing more to say.
So, hello everyone. We are going to present you Nova Pizza Fighting, and I will start with a pitch. A queen asked for help, and you have decided to go to her planet to see what happens. Once you arrive, you discovered the most tasteful pizza of the whole universe, the greatest Nova Pizza. But you're not the only one, and you don't want to share. Embody one of the 4 aliens and fight for the last Nova Pizza before the destruction of the planet Nouvelle. So the concept. Nova Pizza Fighting is a multiplayer party game playable on PC and up to 4 players. The main goal of the game is to collect as much pizza as possible before the end of the game. The experience of the game is based on competition between players. That's why they can fight each other. Here is the screen of the game for those who haven't played. We wanted to create a fun game, accessible for everyone, but also give possibilities and choices to the players. So we designed some mechanics that can be mixed to create combos, like when you grab and hit someone. We want to keep the game simple. So we want to keep the game simple, so you can easily enjoy the game with friends. But we also want to put a little bit of mastering in the game, like the grapple especially, to differentiate a novice player from an expert one. Our intention was to create a nervous experience and interaction between peoples. In terms of mechanics, players are equal. They all have the same abilities. But to create variety, we decided to give them a special ability specific to each characters, so players can choose between the 4 characters, not only because of their visual, but also because of this special ability. In terms of level design, our intention was to give space to players so that they can fight, but we also wanted to let them use the ground as an advantage for them. The grounds bring some other opportunities for players to eject each other and create funny moments. I will now let Yannick for the visual.
Okay, so Nova Pizza is mainly about colors. We imagine this game colorful and flashy to match with the mood and the funny concept of the game. Weird but funny. These are the two keywords of our art direction. Our concept was what we called the rigolet, which is a mix between the French word rigolo, funny, and laid, ugly. Sorry. These characters are like plastic toys that we want to play with. So this game is not serious. It's a fun game. So we thought that will be interesting to imagine unrealistic anatomy and shapes to create 4 easily recognizable characters. Yes, it's kind of kitsch, but you might think that they are ugly and coming directly from the imagination of people with bad taste. Maybe it's true, but let's say that it was something that we wanted. We assume it. We've been inspired by monsters and strange characters like this from the Japanese entertainment culture. We find interesting to unleash our imagination and mix irrational things to create new ones. These are the environment. Sorry. These characters are living in a strange world made of crusty crystals, melted cheese, and columns of an ancient temple. We create 3 different levels with three main shapes and colors. So now I will introduce our favorite fighters. So this is Vedette, a fighting star with an annoying high-pitched voice. This is Jeff Marcos, a seductive hi-fi system. This is Lacrimae, a depressed dolphin who hates a happy shark, and because of the hurt, he is crying eternal tears of sadness every day, anytime. And this is Culto Presto. It's the strongest person of the galaxy, but it's also the sweetest ballet dancer ever. So now let's talk about sound.
Okay, so the graphics are based on weirdness and plastic toys. That reminds us our youth and the cartoons we watch. So we needed a punchy music like in the 90s with guitars, brass and drums. And the goal is not to be serious and just match with the funny arts. There's a music for each screen of the game to keep the players focused and create a punchy atmosphere. Each characters are really particular and unique. So we needed a voice for each one that matched with their personality. They have also a particular sound for the body because they have different physics. So when you will punch someone, you can know just with the sound who it is. And all in this game are made to exaggerate everything. So in this way, we wanted to have a large panel of sounds. Sometimes the sound effects are more like music notes to differentiate who is doing what, and each actions have a pool of different sound effects to create variety. So in conclusion, graphics and sound design work together to make a funny mood in this game.
I will now introduce the whole Galact team. So Fabien worked on programmation, Maxime on sound design, Giovanni Carlu and Yannick on graphics, and Camille and I on game design. We thank you for your pizza attention.
Si, il est en route. Des questions? Hop.
So I had the chance of playing the game earlier, and as you said, it's a party game, and from my experience playing the game, I had trouble under identifying moments where I felt like I lost control, and I know I kind of figured out or learned from playing the game that you may be stunned by some effects. Have you thought about what kind of feedback you could give? Because it really, I couldn't read what was happening at those times, and wasn't sure what triggered the fact that I could move again. And since you didn't talk about it in the presentation, but you have time pressure because the level destroys itself gradually, and everybody's rushing from the left to the right of the screen. So if you could tell me about maybe what was your plan for feedback, and if you have maybe encountered this problem with other playtesters, like this feeling from people telling you about how it felt to play the game, and if you eventually thought of solutions to fix this potential issue.
We wanted to put feedbacks very crazy in a crazy way, and this one was not as good as we thought it would. So yes, we understand your point of view, but we didn't put this on the build.
Okay, and a follow-up question is about so the game is about collecting pizzas, and your interface does a really good job of telling players where they are. First one, second one, third one, fourth one, from how many pizzas they collected. The only thing I could not figure out from playing the game, and so I'm not sure if you've thought of a plan to teach the player, is how because what I'm gonna say is the game is called Nouvelle Pizza Fighting, and fighting is a part of the experience that's supposedly prominent because it's in the title. And my experience of playing a game, the part, the gameplay, the game through where I performed the best was when I avoided confrontation, because I didn't understand what you could do with fighting in terms of collecting pizzas. I understood I'm going to be first if I collect all the pizzas, and I didn't see what part fighting played in stealing pizzas from others, or preventing others from collecting pizzas and eventually winning this way. So I like my question is about how could you potentially can you tell me about what happens if you fight and if you can get ahead with fighting, and also if you have plans of teaching how to teach the player this, because from the time I played, it didn't I didn't have time to experiment enough to figure it out.
Well, for the teaching, we planned a tutorial, but we didn't have enough time to put it in the game. So basically, at the beginning, the players are all fighting each other in the closed arena, and they can learn how to fight and how to use all the hits they have. And the other question was about... I'm sorry, I forgot. Well, I think there are different kinds of players in this game. I tend to avoid also fighting, but I lose every time, so it's not always the best way to do it. You can steal the pizza. You have different ways to do it. For example, when you send your pizza to your spaceship, people can hit you and get all the pizza you are sending right now. So if you have like 20 pizza, they can get 20 pizza at once. I think there are lots of strategies you can have, but in 10 minutes it's hard to see everything you can do. But that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make a rich game, and we wanted people to play it again and then master it. So I guess that's it.
D'autres questions? Ah.
it's about progression. We wanted to the players to progress on the screen, and it's kind of mixed with the story. The planet is destroying itself, and well, if they were only in the arena, it won't show the planet destroying like this, like with the yeah, and that's why we put that in a closer arena, because that second part is just about hitting ourselves, and that's why we put that here. We collect all the pizza, we send them to the ship, so players are really equal. They don't have to worry about pizza, etc. They just have to fight and to stand the last one on the ground.
Bon, on va arrêter là. Au suivant. Ping-pong fighter. Fighting. Fighter. Et ils arrivent.
Qui a joué au ping-pong avec Michel? Who played the ping-pong with Michel? Oh, because ping-pong is generally a game for two, but okay, we'll leave Michel making the comments.
Hello, I'm Michel Trémouillet, audio director of Ankama Games. I'm going to give my commentaries in French. It's easier. J'ai bien aimé le principe du jeu ping-pong. Je suis fan des jeux de tennis, Mario, Power Tennis et compagnie. Donc j'ai bien compris votre approche arcade volontaire du jeu. Par contre, je l'ai pas ressenti en jouant. Donc ce qui m'a bloqué dès le départ, en fait, en 10 minutes, j'espérais avoir des sensations assez rapidement, des sensations de jeu, de fun. je les ai pas eu vraiment, peut-être un peu plus au bout de 10 minutes, mais pas assez rapidement, justement pour rentrer dans le cadre de l'examen des 10 minutes, j'ai trouvé. Pourquoi, avant tout, bon, le tuto est très clair, ça on n'a pas de problème avec les inputs, il n'y a aucun problème. Avec les déplacements du personnage non plus. Par contre, on est un peu bloqué quand on dirige son personnage qui est assez rapide autour de la table. De même, quand on charge notre coup pour frapper, pour envoyer la balle, on ne comprend pas en 10 minutes comment ça fonctionne. C'est-à-dire que j'appuie sur la touche quand l'autre a déjà frappé, ça ne marche pas. On est sûr de la rater. Il faut absolument appuyer exactement quand la balle va toucher la raquette. Et c'est là l'autre problème, j'ai trouvé, c'est que la raquette, on la voit à peine. Elle est confondue un petit peu dans le personnage. Enfin, moi, je contrôlais Jean-Pierre, semble-t-il, le mec avec une tenue disco qui avait des longues manches et la raquette toute petite, toute noire. On la voyait à peine. Donc ça, c'était le problème pour moi. Niveau habillage graphique, c'est chouette. Hein. Vous apportez un grand soin à ça. Il y a un beau menu, il y a une belle présentation avec la fabrication des raquettes. C'est soigné. Au niveau du son, la musique est bien réalisée, hein, c'est propre, c'est même très professionnel. En revanche, vous me parliez d'évolution de la musique, je ne l'ai pas du tout senti. C'est-à-dire que du début à la fin, j'avais l'impression d'avoir la même petite boucle qui se répétait, la petite boucle disco hein, qui est rigolote, mais qui déjà au bout de 10 minutes peut saouler un petit peu. Ça aurait peut-être demandé justement pour se rapprocher un peu plus du côté arcade que vous espériez, des césures dans la musique, des jingles, des petites boucles alternatives, une évolution quand le jeu propose la charge au bout d'un certain temps. Voilà des layers qui se rajoutent ou peu importe, mais voilà, une évolution de la musique que je n'avais pas et qui aurait pu rajouter et renforcer le côté arcade. Qui pour moi, le son en arcade, c'est vraiment une juxtaposition, une superposition de plein de sons, de jingles que je n'avais pas là. Voilà, donc impression mitigée, mais un bon travail quand même, donc bravo. Merci.
Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to Ping Pong Fighters, the first fighting game using table tennis. I hope you're not too hungry because we are officially presenting on your lunch break, but stay sharp. Our team is really glad today to present our game, and we try to tell you what we try to make and how we focused on the feeling you have while playing table tennis. Okay, so first of all, let me introduce you to the game itself. Ping Pong Fighter is a multiplayer arcade fighting game playable on PC and willing to be competitive. Jean-Pierre and Ryuku who you can see on the screen, are the two best players in the galaxy, and they are meeting in the finals for the 5th year in a row. Your goal is to just to choose one of them and win the tournament. The game was born because at the very beginning we were a bunch of around 20 people in the school playing ping pong all day, and we loved that atmosphere of fighting, beating each other, laughing at someone throwing his racket from frustration. And obviously we're not as good as professional, but the fun and the epicness was already there. And eventually some of us thought, why not making a game where we can make great shots and play like the greatest do, only without the sweat. That's how we came to Ping Pong Fighters. And we took some inspiration from Street Fighter, Windjammer, Lethal League, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, sports game and fighting game at the same time. And now Victor, our game designer, will tell you how the fighting game mechanics emphasize this feeling we wanted to focus on.
So as you can see, today Ping Pong Fighters is more than just a sport game. It's an actual fighting game. We try to mix the best of these two worlds by adding fighting game mechanics to table tennis rules. As the core mechanics of the game replace the score with a health bar and the points you win with damages done to opponents. So each shot has damages to the ball, and the player who misses it will take all the damages from the actual game. This way, as the point becomes longer, the intensity of the game increases, and the two players become more concerned by the actual game. Also, as you can see in the screenshot, we choose to use the side view, allowing the player to move more efficiently, and it's easier to shoot, making the game easier to learn and more fun. In addition to that, we added more mechanics reminding fighting games. First of all, each ball has different characteristics and can be used to surprise your opponents and make the points. We create 4 different types of balls with different paths, each one using its own color to be easily recognizable. We also give a huge importance to the timing directly for table tennis. If you get the perfect timing, your shot will be more efficient and you will be rewarded. And last but not least, we added 2 kinds of splashing moves, giving you the ability to crush your opponent with powerful and incredible shots. In order to have a strong arcade feeling with all these features, we had a lot of feedbacks and exaggeration, making the game crazier and more fun to play. And now I'll let Paul talk to you about the direction of the game.
Thank you. So, the art style of the game takes its inspiration from the 70s and early 80s production. We wanted to have a colorful universe from that period. Some of the elements were inspired by series like Star Trek, Cosmos 99, Valerian and Lorelei. So we began searches to find how to merge all this old-fashioned style to a fighting game. As you can see, the game of environment takes place in the future, but I wanted to keep the retro art style. For example, the type of the clothes, the characters wear, the architecture of the town. It looked like it comes from a sci-fi movie, but in fact, it was inspired by the Bauhaus architectural style. For the color stone, we wanted some striking color on the purpose to see clearly and make the game easier to play. So, to that aspect, we used the 70s palette with an orange dominance in the picture, a color which is a reflect of a youth spirit who emerged from this game. Finally, for the animation style, we wanted to have a semi-realistic animation to have a funky look. We use motion capture and keyframe animation on the character. The keyframe was used to give them a more stretchy and dynamic look. So now I will let Noé talk about sound design of the game.
Ping Pong Fighters is a versus game based on table tennis. So the sound design had to reflect those two aspects. First, the sound universe of table tennis is very recognizable with the ball sound, the racket sound. So this is the raw material we use to make the sound, and then we designed them to make them over the top to give the arcade feel we wanted. We also wanted to recreate the specific rhythm that emerges from a table tennis match. This is by creating the sound for the ball and for the hit of the ball on the table. This gives a feeling of repetition of the sound and acceleration, deceleration, and change of direction, depending on which shot is used. The sound effects were also made to be able to distinguish the different type of shots, so that after a few minutes of playing the game, you should be able to associate one type of sound and its particular one type of shot, and the particular sound of the shot. The music has been composed by Victor Mellini, and it wanted to give a retro feeling and to be as fun and catchy as the game is. The music itself evolves depending on the round and on the remaining life of the players.
So thank you for your attention. I hope we convince you to join the tournament. In case you can download the game on itch.io or play in the atrium today. Before putting an end to this presentation, I would just like to introduce the whole team. So Victor was our game designer and developer on the project. Paul and Victor were our graphic artists. And Noé was our sound designer.
And thanks to Guillaume for managing us during this project.
I have two questions. The first one, very important. Give me the name of the 20 students of Benvin who spend all the time playing ping pong. The second one is more technical. Can you explain how you compute the ball's trajectories?
You mean in a technical way?
Yes, in technical, but because I didn't play the game, but I looked to the trajectories, and they seem not really to be physical.
Yeah, in fact, with a Bezier curve to compute the trajectory of the ball, yeah. So we can directly control it from the starting point to the hit on the table and the hit in the racket, and this way we can give the exact path we want to the ball.
Okay, so it's not a physical part.
No, it's not physical.
Okay, so other questions?
So again, on the ball trajectory, it's basically 2D, right?
In fact, it depends on which shot you use. Most of them are, as you say, 2D kind. It goes straight forward. But the yellow one, it's the side effect. So it goes from down to up on the table, depending on where do you aim on the table.
So you have to react to the yellow with the what? Like when you on the opposing side, when you're receiving a yellow shot from the other.
You have to try to read the mind of your opponent to know on which side will he choose, and so to go to this side and try to get the ball before.
Yeah, but what I mean is like basically what determines whether you connect with the ball, you hit the ball back or not, is 2D. There is no height information, right?
There's one when we reach the end of the pass of a ball. It's the only restriction.
You reach the what?
The end of the path of the ball before it's get to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I mean like when you're exchanging the balls, right? The what determines if you hit or you don't hit the ball when you're receiving a ball, it's basically position, 2D position, no 3D information there.
There's a few 3D information as you can hit the ball with behind you and something like that, but yes, it's mostly 2D information.
Okay.
Hi. It's not going to be a question, more of a remark. You were presenting right now, and it was really hard to follow your presentation because the movement of the ones who were not presenting were distracting from the information that the person was talking was delivering. So I had to actually focus on the slides to be able to listen to what you were saying, which is also harder because you're not native speakers of English. So evidently the flow of the words is less natural and makes it a little more effort to focus on what you're saying. So it's just a remark when you it sets the mood, but maybe you could find a way to think about not necessarily distracting from the person who was supposed to be the audience has to focus on with the constant movement, sometimes very distracting movements. And in the same vein, when, for example, you were talking about the graphic, if you can go back on your slides, please. Go back to your graphic design slide. So at the beginning of your presentation there, you were talking about this reference, and then you went on, and I can't remember who was delivering the speech, but you had the clearly organized way of talking about different influences. I think it was you, right? And I wonder why didn't you have slides illustrating every one of your words? Because at first, okay, we have the reference, and you talk about the Bauhaus, for example, and okay, where's the Bauhaus exactly? Like, it's really hard, and you only have maybe 2 images of the game in your presentation. I haven't played the game yet, but I'm not sure what the game looks like. So it's all about communication. I have, my feeling is sometimes we tend to forget that there's the communication side is part of the design. Yeah, it's important to if the design cannot communicate itself to the player, it fails. And in the same way, you have to work on being mindful and careful on if you're communicating what you want to communicate well or not. It's just a remark. It doesn't call for an answer, but
yeah, I agree with the comments that were just made. One point specifically on the visuals, you cited Valérian and Bauhaus, and to me, I don't see that in the game at all. I played the game and I didn't see that at all. I did see Jet Set Radio, so which I like, but and I like the aesthetics, but I'm not sure this kind of is a detriment to your pitch now, because suddenly there was an aesthetic that I liked, and now you're telling me, oh, there was a reference to Bauhaus and Valérian, and I absolutely don't see that in the game.
To answer that, I will say that the Bauhaus were for the Bauhaus I talked about the architectural style of the design of the battlements. So if you look, I know you can see when you're playing the game, the town back in the area, but it was very inspired by the design of the buildings at this time and this type of thing. And to talk about Valerio and Laureline, have you read the series?
A bit, yeah.
A bit?
I'm familiar with the series.
Okay, because I'm a big fan of it.
All right.
And if you look, there's a huge variety of environments in it, and some of this game environment was based on some of them, and not all. So not on this one there, but it's one of the
That's kind of the point. The point is that you should align your presentation with what your point is, and like if there is a visual that was specifically inspiring and that is translated in the game, then put that one. Don't put a visual that is completely disconnected.
Okay.
Just take it as advice.
No more questions. So it's time to eat. So you're a member of jury. And the member of jury are invited to go downstairs into le foyer Magélis.